welcome back for another book review. Today we are talking about a book that I don't have the copy of. So this is one I read a little bit ago and I had to read it in a day because I get massive stacks of books from the library at a time. My current last run to the library, I picked up 8 or 9 books and I'm about to drop off another 5. So I read through them very frequently and sometimes I don't pay attention to when they warn me that it's due. And very rarely do I have a problem, but every once in a while, they have no holds. You check it out and you have that amount of time and that's it. Thankfully, I'm pretty aware and I'll check it every few days. I'm just just to be sure. And there was one that I checked and it was due the next day. And it was oh crap. And this was that book. So it was something like Elemental Witchcraft, and I don't remember the author's name. I'm sorry. It'll be on the description title thing of this video. So this book is huge. It is one of, I wish I had the copy of it. It's very similar in size to Wicca, A Year and a Day by Timothy Roderick, or the Penzak Temple series, Inner Temple, Outer Temple, Shadow Temple, other ones. I don't remember the 4th book title. But those big manual books that it's A year and a day of a book and they're huge, it's about that size. And honestly, it is written in that style. So it is supposed to be kind of a year and a day-ish book. It's a training book for that tradition. I think they called it the Pentacle Path, but it is really heavily influenced by those 2 books I mentioned before. So the Wicca, A Year and a Day by Timothy Roderick, which I did kind of go through on Patreon eons ago, 2019. I didn't make it through the book, but it was interesting but weird at times. And then also Temple of Witchcraft by Penzak. Inner Temple is on Patreon, working through Outer Temple right now. She talks about those 2 pretty frequently. And while that's interesting, it was a little okay. You're constantly, it felt a little bit, honestly, a bit of a knockoff of the other 2 books. To the point where I was this is pretty laid out the same as these other books. And it was just a little weird, but again, I don't know. I could be a little judgmental on it because I have read so many books and maybe that's just the format that the publishers want. I don't know. That said, this book is only for a specific audience, and that is Hermetic witches. Wicca witches, specifically. Hermetic Wicca. That is this tradition. It is constantly referring back to Hermeticism, and that's not something I care about. So the entire book, you're just okay, and that's all this book is. And it doesn't, I feel it should have been a little more upfront with how much that is just that tradition and what it's really based off of. And if you keep that in mind, and if it's something you're interested in, I do think it would be a really good resource as a good first book. I don't know if there's more, but this is a year 1 kind of a book. And it goes over some stuff that's in a lot of witchcraft and Wicca, but then it again throws these hermetic principles on top of it. And again, I'm just not a big fan of hermetics, so it's a personal preference. It was a really long book, I must say. So again, it's supposed to be for a year. If that is something you're interested in, you'll probably love this. Otherwise, I don't know that it would be worth going and getting. This does read a lot like a research kind of a book. There's a lot of history and just extra stuff that it isn't a quick read. It isn't a fun read. It's very heavy and just kind of bland, honestly. Again, I was pretty bored going through this entire book. It is really heavy on ceremony too, alongside the Hermetics stuff. And I don't know if those are always intrinsically interlinked or not, but it definitely was a lot of ceremonial witchcraft, a lot of traditional Wicca vibes, combined with the Hermetics. And the first half of the book really felt like a research paper, and then it kind of got onto the exercises, so do keep that in mind. If it's a topic you're interested in, it does get a little better about halfway through. But again, overall, if it's a topic you're interested in, you're probably gonna like this book. If it's not, you're probably not going to enjoy it like I didn't. But overall, if you're into Hermetic Wicca, this is going to be a great resource for you. So I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Huge thank you to my patrons. I'll have their names here on the screen. If you'd like to support me and get access to exclusive content, it is patreon.com/nightbellowcrafts. It is over there that you will find my audiobook of The Death Journey. I will be posting every chapter every Thursday until February, I think is when it ends. and we will finally be through all like 30 something chapters of the book. So make sure to check out that if you want the audiobook. If you would like the other variations of the book, the ebook, paperback, and hardback are available, always linked on my blog down below. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and blessed be.